Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ryan Luco with Impact Montana Programming and Training. And today we are in week 3 of the 5-week series that we are just sharing information with you, prospective or past or current program participants, really helping everybody just square up and learn more about the work that Impact Montana does, specifically through our programming. So today, considering we're talking about functional health, um, really just the idea behind functional health is that it focuses on helping people operate at their best despite the challenges. So through the Impact Montana lens, thriving is possible even when individuals carry physical, mental, spiritual, or even service related burdens. So that's going to be our focus today. Um, and I hope you will endure to the end. As we've talked the last 3 weeks, really focusing this information that we're sharing around the Impact Montana mission. Um, the idea for Impact Montana is to support service members, vets, first responders, and their families through functional health. And I say that um, with the emphasis that functional health aligns with the mission by helping individuals strengthen their capacity to pursue purpose and thrive. So, as you see on this slide, we're going back to the mission statement, right? We're defining our purpose, we're helping individuals define or redefine their purpose, we're connecting individuals with health and community solutions, and then we're identifying what it is that people value and then helping them strive for what they value. So let's look at specifically what functional health is a little bit further. So functional health really just changes the paradigm of how we're looking at health. And it asks a different question. Instead of maybe the question of what disease do you have, functional health asks, how can we help your body function better despite that ailment? So within this, the goal is to maximize capability and resilience and really getting to the root cause of whatever health challenge somebody's facing. So, um, with the service member, vet, first responder space, um, a lot of that has to do with chronic conditions. Um, a lot of that has to do also with trauma. So, functional health takes a different approach to addressing chronic conditions specifically and certainly trauma. So, in that, the goal is to support the body, mind, and soul as one integrated system of the human body. Again, here's the list of, or just a short list of service related challenges. Um, and really, we want to acknowledge that service members and first responders often carry unique health burdens. So that looks different than the non-service demographic in society. And another point about functional health is that it does not ignore these realities of service-related challenges. So it doesn't mask these things. It doesn't ignore them. It doesn't do anything other than work with individuals to identify the root or potential root challenges and then address them from there. So it helps people adapt and optimize really around them. So service related challenges can include what you see here: physical injuries, stress and trauma exposure, um, sleep disruption and operational demands, and then certainly transitional challenges. So uh, instead of the standard approach to addressing these things, functional health addresses it a little bit differently. Next slide, just really the idea of one of the thrive factors, which is physical health and wellness. and we've talked previously about the Thrive factors, so we won't get into that as the model for the Live to Thrive programming. But if you dissect the physical health piece of that, the triad of wellness is what comes to light, and just simply by focusing on what we're putting in our body, the activity levels, what we're doing on a daily basis for movement, and then how we rest or sleep can really change the course of how someone's body is able to function physically. So it does make sense for us to reference the triad of wellness, just because a lot of times people want simplicity. And so if we're looking at a slice of the Thrive Factors model, specifically in this case, physical health and wellness, we can break it down by what are you putting in your body? What kind of activity are you doing? Are you getting outside, getting vitamin D exposure from the sun, getting out into nature, those sorts of things? And then certainly, how are you resting and sleeping? And just by focusing on those three things in a very simplistic manner can help elevate somebody's physical health, just health and wellness. So the next several slides, we're going to just kind of go through some elements of functional health and really what to look at when it comes to attempting to get to the root cause of what someone is ailed with. So genetics versus lifestyle. This is an interesting one because not a lot of emphasis gets placed on how genetics come into play when it comes to someone's ability to thrive, or maybe somebody's just surviving. But genetics plays a key role in that equation. So, for example, there's a gene mutation called the MTHFR gene mutation, and it's estimated based on scientific research that roughly 44% of society has that gene mutation. And the challenge with the MTHFR gene mutation is that it increases, or excuse me, it really decreases our brain's ability to function well in times of stress. So conditions related to the MTHFR gene mutation can include anything from anxiety-related disorders to depression to even some other larger mental health-related challenges. So if somebody's not aware of the fact that they have the MTHFR gene mutation and they're susceptible to high anxiety, chances are pretty good they aren't going to have the means to be able to address that at the root level. So further, a little bit of adjustment in going back to the triad of wellness in how we are, what we are consuming, right? Consuming the right vitamins and minerals alone can help individuals with the MTHFR gene mutation function optimally. So just some key highlights for genetics. And Impact Montana has done some work with individuals in this space, and it's been really interesting to help vets specifically through functional health specialists identify some of the genetic related challenges that they didn't know they had, and through functional medicine, getting them connected to the right remedies, and then watching them and their lives change simply because of those tweaks. So that's a big part of what functional health looks like, and it definitely warrants discussion when it comes to the work that Impact Montana is doing. So genetics influences predispositions, right? It changes what we think about our health and wellness. just by having information at our disposal based on how we are designed. Okay. Lifestyle influences outcomes, our environment, what we're doing. It goes back to that physical activity. All of those things really will drive our body's ability to function at an optimal level, right? Which is what functional health is. And then environment and behavior shaping expression. So, our genetic predisposition, again, going back to brain health, all of those factors ultimately determine how we respond to some of the challenges that we face in life, and especially in service. So the anxiety related disorders that I mentioned, right? It might be bone health, right? And somebody that's prone to arthritis like myself. Um, there's a lot of variables that come into play as we age, that if we have the genetic information, it can help us really address, oftentimes proactively even, the challenges that we currently face or the challenges that we may face down the road. So genetics are just a very very good bit of information that can prove to be extremely positive when it comes to functional health and wellness. Understanding biology, another one, along with genetics, our biology responds to inputs. So anything that we put in our body, right? How we're resting, how we're getting those physical activity, or steps, whatever that looks like for you. All of those things will influence our biology in any given amount of time. So every year, or whenever you get blood tests, that is a snapshot of what's happening in your body at that given point in time. And so our ability to change biology is influenced by those things that we've talked about previously with the triad of wellness. So sleep, nutrition, and exercise. And if it's not optimal when we get our blood health, in the lens of functional health, or through the lens of functional health and Impact Montana, really, if things aren't optimal, then we have the ability to address them through nutrition, rest, and movement more often than not. So that's what the emphasis is through Impact Montana, and really what we want to help service members, vets, first responders, and their families understand in how to take ownership of their other circumstances. We can't control genetics, obviously, but we can certainly control, to a degree, our biology. Clean living. So again, it's what we're putting in our body, right? We've talked about that throughout this presentation, but whole, minimally processed foods, clean water and air, and then reducing toxins and harmful exposure. So that would include both consuming, and believe it or not, there's toxins in the food that we eat, right? I think everybody's probably aware of that, but not only what we consume through our mouth, but what we breathe in, what goes through our skin. Our skin is a very porous organ, and our largest organ system, and so it's very important to recognize what we're putting in our skin, or in our body altogether, I guess. So clean living, very important part of functional health. And then last, just want to reference biohacking. So anybody that's been around Impact Montana for a while knows that we have an integrative health service partner network that provides treatment modalities that look a little bit different than what we find through Western medicine, right? So there's sensory deprivation, there's hyperbaric chamber therapy, there's biofeedback, there's neural feedback, there's infrared sauna. So all of those things align with functional health. cold water immersion therapy, right? It's not a service or a modality, but it is a treatment that we can expose ourselves to really anywhere that helps to optimize performance. So we've hosted Wim Hof trainings in the past, which just helps individuals learn how to do breath work and cold water immersion for that optimization of um, our for our optimization of performance. Um, so using science again to optimize performance, using biohacking devices or techniques, protocols to optimize sleep, and then certainly leveraging things like sunlight, cold exposure, and other recovery practices, again, to help optimize our body's ability to function. So these are what we would consider biohacking, um, uh, elements of biohacking. And then really what functional health looks like in daily life. And we've talked about this also previously in the previous weeks, but small daily habits, right? Creating long-term impact. What you're putting in your body on a day-to-day basis will either provide long-term value or potentially create long-term challenges. So functional health would really put us on a path to create that long-term value or impact. Consistency beating intensity. It's the metaphor is the compound effect, right? If we do the little things on a regular basis, those little things ultimately lead to big things down the line. So rather than doing something intense, once every 6 months, there's certainly a lot more value doing consistent little daily discipline related things that are good for us than doing that once every so often. So that's a part of the messaging that we want to share in regards to functional health. And then community support strengthens accountability. I can't emphasize that enough. Impact Montana's philosophy is that it's our community that's backing the work that we're doing that provides the impact, the value. And so having that accountability from community is just there to support each of our folks that we have the honor and blessing of serving. All right, so reflection. Where could you improve your functional health? What does that look like for you? It might mean getting up to expose yourself to the first 45 minutes of daylight in the morning, or doing that while you're going on a 10-minute walk in the morning. Um, Doing that at night, honestly. There's value in the end of the day sunset. That last 45 minutes of sunlight also helps prepare you for a strong sleep cycle. So, reflecting on the Thrive Factors model, excuse me, which wellness area do you think might need your attention? So, physical health and wellness, spiritual health and wellness, family wellness, career wellness, financial wellness, or social wellness. Those are the 6 Thrive Factors. We've discussed them at great length previously, but is there something in those 6 functional areas of wellness that might need your attention, might need some extra focus to help you really level up or reach some specific objective? And to those 2 questions, what is one habit that you could start this week um, in relation to functional health and wellness, or specifically the Thrive Factors model? So we reflected on this, I think, in the first week of this virtual Connect conversation, but this is a good opportunity to bring that back to light because we are specifically talking about functional health. So, in closing, uh, just want to emphasize that despite someone's challenges, it is certainly possible to thrive, right? And what I like to tell people as a health coach and somebody that works with individuals a lot um, is that the more information they have at their disposal, the higher propensity it is for them to thrive, right? If we have genetics information, if we have our current blood work information, if we have these things at our disposal, we can certainly optimize our body's ability to, uh, or optimize our body's ability to function, and ultimately that leads to thriving. So, optimize what you can control. We don't want to focus on things that we can't control, but we certainly do have domain over most things in our lives, and we want to take ownership of it. It's at our domain. We have the ability, despite the circumstances we've faced. Right now, we have the ability to take ownership of our circumstances and grow. And then last, building habits that support purpose and resilience. It's if you are doing the right things on a daily basis, you will be amazed at what that ends up looking like down the road. Whether that's um, how you're performing in your job, whether that's um, working on your relationship with your spouse at home, whatever that is, building habits is so incredibly important in our pursuit to thrive. So that's the information we have today. I want to thank you for um, listening to this version of the 5 week series. And as always, if you have any questions or things that you want to discuss with Impact Montana, please feel free to reach out. And we look forward to connecting with you again in the near future.